Hey everyone, it's Chainchomped again. Ben here, talking you through my colour and shading process this time. This is about the 5th time that I'm recording this because I have to keep retaking it because I keep forgetting things. So, right off the bat, we'll get straight into it. What I'm doing here, I'm just colour picking from the reference and filling in using the paint pocket tool with a sort of 1 to 2 pixel expansion on it, so it really covers the entire area that I want it to cover, so there's no gaps between the line art and the colouring, between the fill colour. That way, make sure everything's alright. Using a complementary colour for the cardigan, for the hoodie that the character has on. I will change it in a minute. I do think it needs to be green, and I would use green, but it doesn't look right for this picture, so although green is a complementary colour to purple, it wouldn't look correct. Filling in the hair, just very simple flat colours. A lot of the colours that I take when I'm doing the very base colours are just directly ripped from the ref. I don't change them a lot at all. That comes later on when it comes to the lighting and shading. Using a selection, the magic wand tool to be able to colour in the tail without going over the lines. You can also use clipping masks, which I will do a bit later. The eyes are just white circles. I do very simple eyes. Sort of suits this art style. I have recently started doing gradients for the pupils as well. Now here you can see I'm adjusting some of the hue and saturation of the layers, trying to find a complementary colour, but I think like a pinkish red works well. Here I am now moving on to the shading. I'm selecting the entire subject and filling them in with a grey fill colour, and then putting another layer on top and putting the clipping mask on so that I don't run over the edges of the lines and I don't go outside what I'm working on. You saw at the start I drew a little sun in the top right corner of the canvas, which just helps me with my light direction. I don't usually do this, but I thought I'd do it for the sake of the video, just to show you how I learned how to shade. It's not the most ideal way of shading, and my shading is nowhere near perfect. It's not. You shouldn't learn 100% everything from me. I'm still learning myself. But that's just how I make sure I know where the light falls naturally. Making sure that things are 3D, like the head's round. It's not flat on. It's not a dead circle. Same with the arm and the hair as well. It's not all flat. You need to make sure that you know how it wraps around. But you know, when it comes to shading, as long as it's sort of uniform, as long as it's from the light direction, you can have fun with it. Just shade where you want. Not to sound like Bob Ross, but it's your drawing. You can do what you want to it. Just draw how you want. If you think it looks good, keep it. If you don't, get rid of it. Just do what you want to. Like, for example, here and then another bit in a minute. I don't know if I like this too much, but I sort of work with it, and I think I'll see how it goes, and I'll come back to it later on if I don't think it looks good. Luckily, spoiler, it did look good to me anyway. I like the way it looked, so I kept it. This part I didn't. I couldn't get this bit to work, so I just sort of got rid of it. So yeah, just going around making sure that all the shadows are precise, everything sort of matches up, and it works with the rest of the drawing. It's where the light falls as well. Making sure that the little strings reflect onto the hoodie. Using down here now, this is what I mean about the 3D thing, using it so the leg will curve around. If you look around the top of the thigh, it does curve. Also around these laces as well, they are curved, and the top of the shoe, it is curved around, so make sure that your shading does adhere to that as well. With the light here and the way I'm deleting some of the shadows to make it look like it works around the knee as a 3D thing. If you did just fill in the knee as 2D or just kept it straight, you lose that sense of depth and that 3D look of the character. Shading really plays a big part. Most of the time I don't like my art when it comes to the flat colours or sketching. But as soon as I start adding shading, I get a bit more confident, and then everything starts coming together. I've always said it before as well, shading really helps make your art pop. Now, here I'm picking some colours from the ref colours that I've got, and then finding the complementary colour on the opposite side of the colour wheel to find out what to use for the shading. I do this at first. I don't normally use complementary colours at the end of the project, at the end of the picture, but just for now I use complementary colours just to get a rough idea of what the colours are going to be like, and then I normally change them around a little bit. Still using the same layer. I haven't really picked another layer for shading. I normally do all my shading on one layer, unless it's a really complex picture, then maybe 1 or 2 more layers, but for now I'm just colouring in using alpha, protecting the alpha so I don't go over what I've already drawn. sort of like colouring inside the lines, but you don't need to worry about being messy because it doesn't let you go any further than the lines. Yeah, there's not a lot to say. What you see happening is what you see. I'm just filling in the areas that need to be filled. So for example, like a blue shoe would have a yellow or an orange complementary colour, blue hair would have orange. Setting the layer blend to multiply in a minute, just cleaning up some of the lines. Multiply is what I use. You can use different things as well, depending on the area the character's in. If there's any blue light on them, they might have a blue shade. Changing the hue there a couple seconds ago just to make sure everything sort of works. Adding some white highlights on the top. This is more of a sticker, like a comic, like a pop art sort of style, using the white colour rather than a colour that complements everything. I normally change this to an overlay as well, just to give it a little bit more punch. Adding the gradient as well, which I do quite a lot. Again, this is all using clipping layer, so everything goes down to the colour layer, so I can't go over anything else but the colours. Adding a gradient to the body and add a gradient to the hair to make it pop a little bit more. Filling in the line art completely with a colour and then changing the hue and saturation of it to find a complementary colour for the actual main body of colour. So I think with this picture a dark blue or a dark purple would look good with purple fill. Now I'm just using reflective shadows, which I don't know too much about, and once again, it's your art, do what you want with it. This doesn't make any sense, there's no green light behind them, they're just floating in an empty space, but I like the way the green light looks. It gives a bit more depth to the character, makes the colours pop a little bit more. I think it's more appealing to look at. Again, using complementary colours, so on the blue I'm using a bright yellow, on the pink of the shirt I used a very cyan colour, so something that makes it pop a lot more. I love colour in art. I adore using colour so much. It's my favourite thing to do. Is when it comes to lining, colour and shading, I adore doing it. It's my favourite part of a drawing. I hate sketching and getting a picture started, but when it comes to doing this, I love it because you get to play with colours and it really makes the picture come to life, and it sort of feels like you're on the way to finishing. So that's the main body of colour and shading done. Right now I will select the colour, the bottom base colour, expand the selection by a few pixels, like 5 pixels or so, and then fill it in, and that gives me a thicker outline around my picture. Do it again, the same thing, expand it by another couple pixels and fill it with a lighter colour, and that will give me the sticker effect around the outside. There are some people that go around the lines individually, and it does give it a bit more of a hand-drawn approach, but I quite like the idea of it looking like a sticker, so I do it that way instead. Chuck in a very quick gradient for the background, find colours that do complement. Once again, cyan, light green would look good with purple, changing the hue around there, making it work. Doing the same again for the drop shadow. So what I do another fill layer of a darker colour, normally the same colour as the line art, or black, and then just offsetting it a little bit to make it look like it's floating, make it look like someone's put a sticker on the picture. On the page. Well, there you go, that's my shading and colour process. Sorry this video was a bit quick, I'm sort of rambling. I really should script these if I'm going to start doing them properly. But yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I appreciate all your support. Let me know if you do want more of these, just leave a comment down below or something like that. Thank you.